So in the past 4 years of my life, I have went through a fitness deformation. Okay, it wasn't transformation; it was de-transformation. It was, first of all, I was skinny fat, and then from skinny fat to skinny, and then from skinny to jacked. And the reason why I'm saying this right now is because you have to realize one thing. I tried literally everything I could get my hands on. I was like bulking, I was cutting, then I was trying different diet and different things, then millions of things, millions of workout routines, then calisthenics, then home workouts, then again back to calisthenics, and then street workout, and then this routine, this routine, this much amount of volume. I tried literally everything. And in this video, I want to give you 4 lessons that I truly wish that I learned in the beginning, which will change your life if you're somebody who's skinny or even fat or even skinny fat. It doesn't matter. Like, this works for anybody, but especially well for skinny guys who want to build muscle. And the first lesson I want to teach you is actually the basics. Now, just because I said basics doesn't mean you're supposed to leave the video. And also, just so you can know, like, if you see me looking at the left, it's because I have my script over here on my laptop. So you know that I'm just not doing something weird, whatever. But just because I said about basics doesn't mean you're supposed to leave this video, because basics are the reason why you don't actually gain the results you want to gain. And so for me to uncover these, so you have seen on the title or the thumbnail, volume, intensity. The third one is control. Then after control we have rest. Let me just write it, rest. And then after rest we have surplus. Now these are the 5 basic things you need to get right if you want to get jacked. Now if you're somebody who's skinny, most likely the problem you have is actually surplus, or maybe some of these things, but I'm going to get into every single one of them. Now if we talk about volume, so what volume essentially is just the amount of something, right? Volume just literally represents you doing something. Like, you have some kind of repetition. So let's say, I don't know, this over here is 1 repetition. Volume is how much I do these things. Okay, so the amount of doing something. Really simple to understand, and it's literally just the amount of something. Intensity is the frequency of that amount. Okay, so you're doing something, and then intensity is just the frequency of you doing something. So it can be higher, lower, it can be middle, right? Just imagine a wavelength. Imagine a wavelength, and the intensity is pretty much that. It's just the frequency of which you perform something. So frequency. Now, if you look at control, is the way you train. It's the way you perform this frequency, right? So it's just a way of training. Then you have rest, which is just pretty much recovery, so how you sleep, and surplus is just food, or yeah, pretty much food. Now a lot of people, when they want to gain muscle, when they want to do anything really in their life, they never really build a good base. So if you right now would to imagine, let's say, a pyramid, or let's say even, I would say even a house, man. Like, if you try to, let's say, build a house, so imagine this is a house, right? Fucking horrible house. If you would try to build this house on a sand, you just couldn't build it. Like, the house would just end up like this, and it would probably fall down, whatever. Like, it would just be horrible, right? So the point that I'm trying to make over here is that basics are the reason why you cannot gain the muscle or really anything in life. And it's the thing that is hard to spot, but it's playing the biggest role in your life. And so the reason why I'm teaching you the basics is because a lot of people on fitness never focus on these. When you look at other creators or people in this industry, what they focus on is the workout. What they focus on is the exercise, right? Let's say exercise. So they focus on these things that are just byproducts of the basics. But the problem is that if you don't have good basics, you will never be able to actually execute having a good workout or building the actual muscle. And this is like, you can, people will think, oh, I just pulled this out of my ass, these basics. No, I not, because this is literally all science based. Like, every single basic you see over here is based on science, and it's also based on common sense. Like, you just cannot build muscle out of a thin air. Like, it is impossible. You have to eat more food, you have to do more stuff, you have to train with a higher intensity, you have to control the way, and so on and so forth. So you have to get these things right, because if you don't get these things right, no matter how advanced things you know, nothing will really change. And literally the perfect story that just shoots the point is the story of Dan Kennedy. If you don't know who this guy is, it's pretty much a godfather of marketing, of advertising, and he had an ability to choose between going into a fundamental rooms for advertising and the advanced rooms for advertising. And then Kennedy, he chose to go into the fundamentals or the basics, and probably there was like somebody who recognized him and he was like, wait, Dan, what the fuck are you doing here? Like you are so good at marketing, you know all these basics. Why are you not in the advanced group? And he was like, but wait, if there was some kind of problem in business, I want to make sure it's not the basic, because if the basic is wrong, everything else is going to get flopped, okay, at some point. That is just how pretty much anything in life works. I mean, honestly, even in politics, that is how Rome fell apart, is because there was just these small basic things that, I mean, small basic things, important basic things that were just, they just flopped. For example, men became more and more feminine, and at some point, they are gone by the more masculine men, which you see right now with other societies. But anyway, that is a completely different topic. So as you can see, most important things are actually the basics, and you have to get these things right really immediately, okay? Because if you don't get these things right, like, it's really hard for you to actually build muscle. And the second thing that I want to teach you, the second lesson, is the vehicle is not the problem, driver is. Now, this lesson is kind of hard to understand at first, but I'm going to, of course, explain it. So if you look at really anything in life, you have multiple ways to reach your destination. If you want to, like, I don't know, get a girlfriend, you have multiple ways to get a girlfriend. You can go to a library, you can go to a party, you can go to a wherever, right? Like, wherever you can find a woman, you can get a girlfriend eventually, right? Essentially. So the point isn't to pick out the vehicle. The point is to pick out the person who can actually do it, or the driver. And so when I look back at my life, when I was first beginning to train, I switched millions of vehicles. And when I say vehicle, I mean home workouts, calisthenics, different types of training, intensity training. Then I would do like fast-paced workouts. Then I would do explosive workouts. I trained a bunch of different ways, and it was all for nothing, because I didn't realize that even if I would change all these vehicles, so imagine this is like home workouts, imagine this is like over here, I don't know, calisthenics, imagine this over here was like some kind of street workout, imagine this over here was like some kind of different diet. Like, if you imagine all these things, like, it doesn't make sense, because it was not suited for me. It was not suited for the person who I actually was, for me as a driver. And so what happened is that over and over again, I would pick out, let's say, one of these things, and maybe you could just relate to this. You pick out one of these things, and then you just start to sabotage yourself. You start, like, maybe scrolling with the phone, then skipping a workout, then you do some other habits that are just not productive towards your goal. And it's because you just didn't pick a right vehicle to begin with. You can get to, or you essentially, well, yeah, you didn't pick a right vehicle, but you're also a driver who doesn't like to drive that shit, right? So essentially what happens is that you as a driver have to pick a stuff you actually like. Like, I see a lot of people, even in business, man, they pick like some kind of model that is like popular, that is going to pop off right now, and they think that the vehicle is the problem. Well, no, it's not. It's just that they have this one core desire they want to do. So let's say, for example, if my thing is like YouTube, which it actually is, I like really love YouTube, and let's say this is my thing, and if I didn't do YouTube, like, I just don't know what I would do, honestly. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't like drop shipping. I don't like anything other than YouTube, and I love YouTube, and because of that, I can put so much more time and energy into YouTube. And so the point I'm trying to get to is that you have to find a vehicle you like. You cannot possibly get jacked if you don't like something. Like, just think about this from a metaphorical perspective, right? You're going through pain. You're going through physical pain to build muscle. You cannot possibly hate something and go through pain to get it. Okay, like, there's not, like, if you have some kind of result and you have to go through pain, like, everything that is worth doing is hard doing, of course, so it has to have some kind of pain, right? So you have a goal, You have to go through pain. You have to, like it's a must. If you don't like the vehicle you're going towards this goal with, you're just going to quit, which is why I literally see people like they start doing something and then they quit. And again, most people's lives are just like this roller fucking coaster. They never pick one thing and never stick with one thing because they think the problem is this. But in reality, the problem is the driver. It's you who has to pick up what you like and forget about everything else and focus on this one thing for solid 1 or 2 years, figure it out, put all the basics in, and start fucking moving. Like, it's so uncool, it's so unsexy, but it's how you fucking do it, okay? It isn't cool, it isn't going to fucking make these guys sell supplements that don't even work, but it's what is going to actually help you out, because if you find the thing you like every single day is going to be literally a play to you. I'm telling you right now, like, I love working on YouTube. I fucking love this shit. And even though sometimes, yes, it's hard, I'm willing to suffer and go through pain because I like this thing. Okay? So, it isn't really about the vehicle, it's about the driver who drives the vehicle, but also you find the thing that you fucking like to drive, because, I mean, if you don't like to drive this thing and you're going to go through physical pain, it's going to be really hard to build muscle, like really hard. You're fighting 2 enemies at the same time, like it just isn't fun at all. And so, almost always, the problem is actually you, because you picked the wrong vehicle, essentially. You picked the stuff that you don't like because you think, oh yeah, I have to do this. Whatever you like to do it. Cool. Stick with it. Find a way to make it work. That's it. That's literally it. The second lesson is fucking important because a lot of people, they pick up stuff they think, or other people do, and they're like, oh well, if I don't do this, I'm not going to get the same result. No. You can get jacked by doing calisthenics, home workouts, street workout, going to the gym, doing just only kettlebell workouts, only free weights, only dumbbells. You can get jacked by any other way of resistance training. The point is to find what you like the most and what you like to drive the most. Okay? It's a metaphor, but it's really important because a lot of people don't actually do this. Now, the third lesson that I want to teach you is the metabolism is not the problem. So your metabolism, your appetite, they're not the problem. Now, when I say this, I know a lot of people are going to be like, but wait, I'm skinny, which means I'm burning more calories. Of course, my metabolism and my appetite is a problem. But here's the thing. The first time I ever have bulked, which was about 1 year ago in April. Really long time ago, I know. The first time I ever bulked, I ate a lot. I trained a lot. I did all these things correctly. So I was literally, I was focusing on these basics. But I didn't get jacked. And so you might, think for yourself for a second, wait, but you were focusing on the basics and you didn't get jacked. Yes. And the reason is because I did all these things, my volume is amazing, my intensity was amazing, my surplus was amazing, my control was amazing, but my rest was horrible. My rest was horrible. And because my rest was horrible, I was never actually able to build muscle. I was just stagnating constantly. And so you have to realize one thing is that you have to track down shit. You have to track down shit every single day. Because if you don't track, you don't know what is happening. Just because I was able to understand that I actually was in a surplus, I was able to understand that wasn't the problem. And so I realized, okay, if surplus is good, if volume is good, if intensity is good, if control is nice, then probably rest is the problem. And it was. Rest was my problem. So you have to realize that almost always in life, you're going to have this one fucking thing that is going to seem as a problem, but maybe it's not a problem, and it's your metabolism. Trust me, I know, you probably do have fast metabolism. Your appetite probably is low, but hear me out. If you keep on blaming this thing over and over again, what are you going to gain from that? Exactly, fucking nothing. You can sit here all day long and say, well, my metabolism, my appetite. And now what? You're going to stay skinny? No. If you put a blame finger on something, if you put attention to something, it grows. No matter what it is. It can even be like me just thinking about, let's say, the worst possible case scenario in my life. Let's say I don't know, I'm in a car, there's some car crash, and I don't know, I just gotta fucking walk after it. Let's say something happens, I don't know, something really bad happens. If I think about it every single day, the chance of that happening increases. Like, that is more of a manifestation type of thing, but it doesn't matter for right now. But if you just put attention to something, it's going to grow. Like, let's say if you would try to study math or learn math, if you would put attention to it for about 2 hours every single day for 10 years, would you get better? Fucking yes. So where you put your attention towards is what you're going to gain from it, what you're going to gain from putting that attention. So you have to understand one thing, is that if you think metabolism is the problem, you're going to put all your attention and focus on that which you cannot change, and that it just means you're going to stay skinny fat or skinny or whatever forever, because you cannot change this. You can alternate it a bit, but not a lot. Like, there is some signs you can actually change your metabolism, but really small amounts. Okay, really fucking small amounts. Maybe like eating more protein, maybe having more thermogenic effect, which may be gained by cold showers, but that's mainly it. Like, and maybe just eating a bit more spicy food, and that's literally it. So my point that I'm trying to make is that if you never track, if you think and you believe that there is some kind of external problem you have that you can get jacked because of it, you're never going to get jacked, because the problem isn't the metabolism. The problem is you. The problem is you not being able to understand what is actually happening in front of your fucking face. Like, there's literally a monkey dancing, and he's the problem, and you're looking at the wrong direction and pointing your finger at this and saying, oh yeah, it's this is a problem, when it's not a problem. It isn't. There's millions of people who got jacked even with fast metabolism. Will you have to put more work? Yes, but it's fucking possible. So if you really cannot gain more muscle or gonna gain more weight, simple ways to do is like literally do like set meal reminders. Literally like set reminders on to eat meal. Drink more water to expand your stomach. Time your food. You can even do that, like literally like set 5-minute timer and just like shove the food in. You can even do, let me think, drink calories also is the way, but you can gain. I'm telling you, right, like, you can eat 3,000 calories. Like, it's fucking possible. And you can do it. Like, it isn't a big magic. You can fucking do it, right? And the only reason why I put over here this is a third lesson is because a lot of people think that there is some kind of external problem, like my genetics, whatever, but it isn't that a problem. It's you. Like, it's you. It's honestly your beliefs, your characteristics, your skills. Because you can't stop doing dumb shit. Like, you just keep on doing making the same mistake over and over again, and you wonder, why isn't this working? Because you just make the same fucking mistake. That's why. And stop blaming metabolism, because it isn't its fault. Like, metabolism cannot change. What can change is you. So change yourself, not metabolism. And the last lesson I have to give, which is the fourth one. Wait. Okay. The fourth lesson I have to give is what you do when nobody's watching is what you'll get when everybody is watching. Now, this is a really important lesson because a lot of people set too low standards for themselves. You know, when I look at, for example, my life when I was a lot younger, my standards for what I accepted myself for were horrible. Like, I was okay with waking up with 3 hours of sleep, with scrolling on phone, with doing whatever, and it comes because what happened when nobody was watching, I was doing that. So do you see the difference? Like, what I did when nobody was watching, I was doing nothing. Like, my standards were low as fuck. And then when somebody was watching, I was always being my best, trying my best. But the problem is that, like, if you have this all or nothing, or yeah, if you believe that all or nothing is possible. So let's say, for example, at some point you can just be all in one thing. So let's say when somebody is there, you're trying to impress, you're like, oh yeah, I'm such a cool guy, whatever. Like, you get a point. You're trying to impress a girl, you're like, oh, this cool guy, you're holding the door. But then when you are alone, when nobody's watching, you're a dick, it's just not going to work, because at some point it's going to come up in this other side, right? So you have to have this mentality where you are always this person. You're always this person who sets up a bigger and higher standard for himself. You're this person who doesn't believe that genetics are going to fucking make him weaker. You're not this guy who's going to believe that in doubt and fear in whatever you might believe in. Like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to get jacked, but I'm so afraid to get like my, I don't know, food in front of people. I'm so afraid to like pull this thing up in front of people. I'm afraid to like do all this thing. Like, stop being afraid, because the highest version of you is not afraid. And if you want to be him, you have to become him right now. Okay? Like, it sounds hard to explain essentially, but you're trying to sacrifice a person who you are right now for the person who you want to become. And when I say sacrifice, I don't mean to like, do some weird shit. I mean, you give up a lower version of you for the higher version of you. That's all it is. Because when you set a goal, what you're essentially doing is let me just draw this actually to make a better point. So when you set a goal, what is actually happening, so let's say this is a goal. You set a goal, and this is like you, right? This is like version one of you. You set a goal, and essentially what happens is, because you set a goal, you are trying to gain something from the excess potential, or from the alternative universe. And because you're trying to gain something from the alternative universe that exists but doesn't exist in your reality, you have to give something to get that. Okay, it's like going into manifestation and all these things, but essentially you're trying to gain something for giving something up. That's what is happening. That is always happening in the world. That is how the capitalism works. That is how everything works in life, pretty much. You're getting something, or you're getting something from giving something, right? You're just making a transaction. And so what happens is that you try as this version one of yourself to grab this goal to become jacked, but then you realize that in your other hand you have a version one you have to sacrifice, and you look at it, right? You had this goal in your right arm, and you're about to pull it, but then you see that the goal or the universe has your version one of yourself over here by your second arm, and it's grabbing that, and you have to like pretty much give this for that, and you're like, I don't know, and you pull it back, and you stay the same person. You never achieve your goal is because you deep down know what you're supposed to do. You deep down know that you're supposed to be this person. You deep down know you're supposed to do other stuff and not just be an idiot who's making the same mistake over and over again. Right? So the point is that when nobody's watching, you have to give up the most things. When nobody's watching, you have to do what nobody's willing to do. You have to work the hardest. That is why, like, you see guys like, for example, David Goggins. Like, you see this guy and he's like speaking so high of himself. It's because he did it. It's because when there was nobody, he fucking ran a marathon. It's because there is nobody, he clenched his teeth and he was running on 2 broken ankles. It's because he did it. He knows it's true. It's because he grabbed this goal he had for himself. And so you have to realize that for you to become a person who you want to be, you have to sacrifice the person who you are right now. And it's really hard to accept, but it isn't something like, as you can see, this video isn't about like only fitness in general. Like it's about life, because what fitness essentially is, it's a goal. Like, you go through pain, you suffer, you want to get something, and this kind of philosophy really helped me shape my mind and how I see the world. It's because if you don't see this way, you will never be able to build muscle, because progressively overload, what it is, you're literally sacrificing like the energy you have today, and you're giving like you're receiving pain so you can grow further. Like, you're giving up everything you have right now so you can receive later more. Like, you're literally doing this same trade-off, right? And same goes with all the bad habits you can think of. So yeah, when nobody's watching, you have to work the hardest, because if you don't do this, you're setting up a standard for your mind, essentially, that you're good, you're okay, you're good enough. And when that happens, you never really grow. Okay, the second version of you, who you want to become, he never comes there. because you just didn't sacrifice. You didn't give up things that you're supposed to give up. And these are the 4 lessons that I truly wish that I learned. I hope they helped you. If you're somebody who is an entrepreneur, who is also ambitious and busy, who wants to sort out his health and fitness, then down below you have first link in the description. You can book a call if you want. And as always, like, I'll be transparent. It's a sales pitch. It's a sales call. And as always, bye.